Everybody have a good lunch. I was in the South Bank. I thought, well, I'm gonna have pulled pork and there's some great sandwiches with pulled pork and brown sauce. I was like, oh, right. And to be very fair, I wish I would have stayed in the sun, as you probably all do, but at the same time, I met somebody who was really interesting when I just came in. I was like, oh, yeah, that's you. Ever. And I was thinking, that was just worth my while. And one of the reasons why I'm here today is to introduce you, not to Aiseedo, to a few concepts and get your feedback. So why don't we make this an interactive session? If you have questions, pop up your hand. And I will share with you a few topics around advanced analytics. Does that sound right? Yeah? Okay. So let's talk about analytics. Who here is working with analytics? Who is doing descriptive analytics? Predictive analytics? Prescriptive analytics? One. I don't know your name, so I won't put you on the spot. Anybody does advanced analytics, more like machine learning, machine intelligence? 2, 3. Oh, excellent. Definitely need to get your feedback then. Okay, so what we'll do today is we'll look at what advanced analytics can do for you, can do for your clients, can do for your projects. And as Dan introduced really well, it's very important to stay on the top of your game. It's very important to continue to train, to continue to understand what tools are at your disposition to go faster, to go better, to meet your client's requirement or your company's requirement better. And advanced analytics can do that. In some cases, there's no claim that one tool fits everything, but of course, you want to understand when advanced analytics makes sense, and that's why I'm here. So, what do you understand by advanced analytics? Does anybody want to volunteer something? Come on, don't be shy. Yes. Advanced analytics, what do you understand?
Like prediction, or maybe targeting the right products to the right customers.
Yeah, that's on the right track. So you can do predictive analytics, and then once you have some level of predictive analytics, then the next step is prescriptive analytics. So you know what's likely to happen, there's no 100% as we all know, based on your data, and then you're trying, as the gentleman said, to take the next step and do something about it. Does that all make sense? So doing something about it means knowing what is the range of options, the steps you could take. It could be adjusting pricing. We were just talking about automated pricing for, say, airlines or rental cars. It could be a betting company that's going to adjust to the players, or a game. Who's playing Angry Birds? Don't tell me. I do. Well, Angry Birds is adjusting their game to you. The right level of difficulty, maybe depending on the time of the day, not too hard so that you don't get discouraged, not too easy so that it makes you feel like, somebody who's achieved something. And that definitely gets me hooked. That's advanced analytics. That's the ability for a system to predict what the user is going to do, to define what you could do about it, and to implement it automatically. So we'll talk about this through this presentation with a concrete example, which is the example of a user on an e-commerce website. And this could be games, it could be lots of different examples, but I figured we'd pick one. So one question which would correspond to predictive analytics would be, can I predict when a user is about to drop without checking out? Let's say their cart is full, they found some fantastic shoes, they're in the cart, they stayed a long time on the website, and then they drop. What happened? Well, the first thing is to understand when the person is going to drop. That's already a good element, because if you know what's going to happen, then you have a chance to do something about it. Otherwise, it's quite hard. But one important thing that advanced analytics provides to you is to know this at scale when lots of users are on the website, because it's probably fine for me to predict one thing when I look at one by one. It's actually quite hard to predict it in advance. It's good to look at it after the fact, but it could be possible to predict that based on past behavior. But at scale, for multiple users and multiple segments of users, that's quite hard. So that's one of the examples. But if you go to the next level, is what do you do to re-engage that user? If you knew the user was going to fall off your website, it's one thing. It's interesting, you can go back and look at your flow and everything. But can you actually do something about it? In the domain of online digital presence, you only get a few seconds with your user. You only got to get a few seconds to transform that user into your customer, to transform that visit on your mobile app, that website, that game, into a purchase, a subscription, or some kind of acquisition. And this is why it's core to be able to react on the fly, at scale, with a smart action. So, it all starts with data. Who's gathering data? If I don't see all the hands, I assume you're sleeping. Who's gathering data? Come on. Right, so, what are you gathering? Sales? Probably. Crumbles on your websites, on your mobile application, cookies. It depends on the business, of course, website, mobile application, etc. Probably you're also gathering IT, technological data. You probably also have data such as the weather or the events. When Michelle Obama wore these fantastic dresses at the beginning of the presidency, everybody went on the, I don't know what it was, John Lewis or Jason Wu fashion designer website and tried to get these pieces of clothing. When Princess Charlotte was born, I'm sure a lot of her clothes were Googled or looked at and the stocks went down. So it's not just about what happens on your website, it's about the context. It's about the weather for ice cream and umbrellas. It's about the world event, Wimbledon coming in, when maybe more people are going to buy a tennis racket because, hey, all of a sudden, I want to play tennis. All of these things matter, but it's not just the obvious thing. Gathering data also means gathering status and timestamps about what happens on your website. It's not just this person came, they left, and no sale happened. Maybe this person came, they moved around, they wandered, they looked at that product, they looked at the other product for how long? Where did the mouse cursor go? Did they put something in the cart and remove it? Did they look for color and size? Maybe they didn't find it. It's important to just go beyond the usual gathering of data and to really get the behavior of the person on the website or on your mobile application. Because from that, you can deduce what happened a lot better, and then you can do something about it. So for instance, I might be cooking, I might have my tablet, and I might be looking at shoes. And for some reason I click on men's shoes. Well, obviously that's not my thing. And maybe I stayed a really long time on the men's shoes. And maybe just I went cooking and I just forgot about that page, which means that maybe I spent 10 minutes on it, but I really wasn't interested. On the opposite, I went on the Christian Louboutin website, which in that case, I stayed a very long time. I had shoes envy, I looked at this color, I looked at these heels, not my size, etc. Well, in which case you think that the website should chase me? In which case should I receive an offer? In which case should I get a notification when my size is available or the color that I want is available? It's not just about the facts, it's about the timing of things. It's not just about how long I stayed on the website, it's about what I did on the website. So gathering all of this is important. The problem is, when you gather all of this, the data ends up in multiple databases, assuming that each person represents one stream of data, one different types of data information. Well, each of this person is coming from a different background, a different gender, a different social demographic. For what you know, this person is French, this person is, I don't know, Asian, Afro-American, British, it's hard to see, Swedish stereotypes, sorry. The whole point is, each of this person is going to represent their data differently. If you put all of these people at a table, the chances are in 1 hour meeting you won't get a conclusion on what happened. Even more so if you have multiple segments of customer. It's a nightmare. How could a human brain take all the data that you have in your company, make sense of it, draw a conclusion, and also draw action on the fly to retain your customer? Well, the answer to that, you probably know, is to use some level of machine, some level of help, computers, etc., some tools, some software, something to help you go through all that data. And this is no news. I'm not claiming this is anything new. But the point I want to make is that, and for some reason it doesn't show very well, but disparate source of information claim to have an actionable different sources of information, so that can't talk today, I'm sorry. If you have different sources of information and you want to take actionable steps, you need a tool to help you with it. You need a way other than the human brain, other than an Excel spreadsheet, other than a meeting with different people representing different sources of information. So, machines are getting better and better at helping us. We're getting better program, we're getting better visualization tools, and that covers a big number of use cases. But there are use cases in which you want to have immediate action, in which you want to have immediate interaction, in which you want to have your website, your mobile application, your game, your advertising campaign, your marketing campaign actually adapt to the user, adapt to that segment of users on the fly depending on their context and their circumstances. And this is where machine intelligence is really cool, really, really fascinating. And you need a machine to analyze the data file. So the top is missing. I tried both then, the top and the bottom. So what the slide says is a smart machine can help you analyze, make sense of the data, and trigger an action on the fly. And what I'm saying here is not that you're out of a job. Absolutely not. Because for a machine to do that, it requires a collaboration with a human. And I'm not saying Terminator and all this, forget about that, this is not the topic today, and this is absolutely not what we're talking. We're talking about smart software, very similar to what you've been using, just one step further, that collaborates with you and becomes an extension of your knowledge to actually do something about the footprints on your website, the digital interaction online with your customers, or at least with the users, to make it customers. And so what you want is to have software to which you can actually ask questions. Not just software that is going to tell you, well, this is what you should be doing. You also want to be able to say, well, if I were tweeting on this channel, for instance, how much would it increase my sales? You want to be able to start thinking about what would happen to your total sales or to your user acquisition if you're taking a specific action. And there's no way human brain can get all of this by itself, especially given the width, the complexity of the data, the different data sources, and the pace at which everything is happening online. There's no way you can read structured and non-structured data, Twitter, etc., without having the assistance of a computer program. And so we are introducing machine intelligence. And I could tell you a lot about what this is. It's actually artificial intelligence, it's machine learning, real-time streaming data. It doesn't matter if it doesn't do what you need to do. And what that does, and it could be Aiseedo ourselves, it could be some of the other companies, it doesn't matter. What it does is that it enables you to have an extension of your knowledge at scale, on the fly, real time, and to go beyond the regular analytics and to do advanced analytics. Voila. So I think we have time for questions. Dan, is it fair, or do we want to, yeah? Does that make sense for everybody? Any questions, yes, never. You're the only one I know, I'm sorry. We just happened to have had coffee 2 minutes ago.
Exactly. Brilliant. The conversation is good.
Thank you.
I'm running into this a little bit in some stuff I'm looking at the moment about the use of advanced analytics and data science in games. And
Yes.
at the moment, it's like, what I see is that it's really still a craft industry. By and large, yeah, the gap between the analysis and the so what.
Yes.
So there are a lot of people doing really good churn models, churn prediction, and then they do an intervention and nothing happens.
What type of intervention are we talking about?
Well, some offer.
Yeah.
It's very hard to move from knowing something might go wrong to doing something about it.
Yeah.
I mean, do you see other domains being more advanced in this respect? Because that's what I see from looking at people who go to conferences and they say, I'm doing the most awesome stuff. And it's still quite difficult.
I see 3 or 4 domains where we get requests for projects. And to be fair, we do either project or we give our tools for people to do projects themselves. It really depends on their level of understanding of the data and of some amount of the technology. And the description we had there about an analyst being able to ask questions and be persistent and go at it is really the behavior of a data scientist. But to be fair, to do some of these things, you don't need to be a data scientist. Sure, you need to be able to format your data. But to answer your question, we see that in gaming, advertising, marketing, whether it's email channel, Twitter, etc. We see that in many online companies that are doing acquisitions, so any website, e-commerce. We see that, for instance, there's a company with whom we're working on meeting advertising. So they are a meeting platform, and they want to be able to recommend to the meeting organizers the best location, the best time for their meeting, as well as the best pricing for the fee of the entrance. So it goes really well when you have an online type of loop or streaming data feedback. And the reason why this works well is because you can then do little experiments. Machine intelligence can do a little experiment and say, well, if I do this on that cohort, that subset of my users, do I get a good result? And then it starts implementing larger. And this is why I'm talking also about the role of the analyst, because you're the one who's going to be able to say, well, what matters to me is having the biggest total sale. Or maybe in my meeting, I want to reach this type of VIP event, VIP guests. Not maybe because I'm getting them more money, but because they are the best for the type of talk and reputation that I want my brand to have. Or maybe you're going to optimize for time on a website because you just want people to really take in the content rather than selling something. It really depends. And so I think these tools get you scale and get you the ability to experiment as well and ask questions from the system and try a few things. Was a long-winded answer. I saw a little bit of a head nod, which is really good usually. I'd love to know your thoughts. Anybody has another type of project that seems like a good fit? Yeah.
So I have a question.
Yes.
It seems like there's a large segment of the market that is going in this direction of machine learning, big data.
Yeah.
So how does your company differentiate itself from that pack that's moving in that direction?
Okay. So this is artificial intelligence. It's all the stuff we imagine, like computer doing things. This is data science, and this is machine learning. Data science is the science of knowing the business and knowing the data and having the statistical, mathematical, and computer science skills to code and do something with the system. Machine learning is the programs in themselves. Machine intelligence is right in between. Is machine learning adapting to a problem. So it's machine learning made sexy, made interesting. So within machine learning, you have the big guys, IBM, Google Prediction API, Amazon, Microsoft Azure. These guys are doing great things. They're putting APIs at your disposition to try simple things, simple predictions, simple recommendation engine, etc. And that covers a lot of really good cases. Now, if you ask me where we focus on interactive, real-time machine intelligence, and that tells you three things. We enable you to take action on the fly. We enable you to do this with multiple streams of this disparate, complex, different data. And we also make it super simple for you to use, which means you don't need a PhD. You need to be able to use JSON formatted messages over a socket or an HTTP API. And I don't need to go into details now. If you're interested, we can talk more. But I think there's a place for everybody. You're completely right. Everybody talks about machine learning. It's almost like a buzzword for 2015. The question is, what is your real need? Maybe your need is just a simple recommendation to start with. Then by all means, use Amazon, IBM, Google. That's great. That's very important to understand what you're doing, to use it, and to apply yourself to it. But if what you need is a reactive system, something that's going to go make some really smart recommendation based on its understanding of how your user are evolving, then this is something that's quite harder to get. This is where we come in. Any other questions? How are we doing with time?
No, anybody else? Sorry, I'd like to ask a question. In terms of compared to more traditional things, so if you've got a customer base and a website, you might score up a list. So you'll say these people get 10% off, these people get 5%, these people get free delivery, and you have these very strict segmentations that are already pre-scored, and it's kind of done once a month. It's more kind of traditional thing. In terms of kind of a more interactive stuff, I mean, have you got any kind of examples of the kind of level of uplift, the difference this kind of thing makes?
In terms of numbers?
Yeah, in terms of kind of, you know,
This is difficult
The
because most
benefit.
of the time it's client private data.
sure. I mean, in terms of kind of, you know, standard model gets X, this kind of stuff gets X plus 10%, or I'm sure it depends on the client,
yeah,
the kind of offers.
It
but
does really depend. I think the bottom line is twofold. One, you get the opportunity to experiment, and unless you keep a pilot group, then it's kind of hard to get to the difference. The second thing is you get to detect things you wouldn't detect otherwise. So it's not so much just, okay, well, I have increased, and you're right, revenue is important, but it's also, I have been able to understand my users, when my user is going to drop. So I'm a bit careful with numbers for obvious reasons, but I would say that depending on the business, it could be fairly significant.
I'm sure you'd say, generally speaking, clients are perfectly happy with, you know, it turns a positive outcome.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Obviously.
But yeah, I mean that's really interesting.
Yeah.
I think, you know, it's going to go more that way, kind of that interactive rather than these big factories where you have a campaign, you do a campaign brief, you send the campaign brief out to someone, they score a list up, it gets put on, and you know you've got like a month between thinking of something and doing something. It is going to be much more iterative.
It's not on the fly, and sometimes it's too late. You might have completely lost the cohort. What we advocated, it's better to do a test. It's better to actually try things out with a small number of users, and if that were applied right away, let your system apply right away without some boundaries. Of course, you're not going to, you know, all of a sudden, you know, give money to people to buy something. It's up to you to be the brain, and you're driving the machine. But I think what's important is today's world is ad hoc, on the fly. People get offers via Twitter, via different channel in the morning. You know, I'm thinking about Waitrose. Waitrose was just sending an offer. They send it via email, and I'm thinking, well, I didn't read the email while I was in the shop. They had detected that one, I was in the shop. Two, it was summer. Three, you know, maybe on my calendar there was, you know, a party, and four, I hadn't come for a really long time, so it was a good time to send me the offer via the media. Then maybe I would have, you know, purchased £20 more out of my £16 purchase. So it's timing. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.